Welcome to Take a Wander with Shebs. My guest at this point is Miriro Matema. Miri is a travel journalist and she is the founder of Gallivant Africa. I spoke to her about her dedicated travel radio station, Gallivant Radio, and what the intention and goal is for the future. All of that and much more. Let's take a look. Miri, welcome to the show. How are you and where in the world are you?
Hi, Shebs. I am good. Thank you for asking. I am actually in Johannesburg, South Africa.
People might not know this. We are connected because of the radio. We'll come on to that shortly. Just explain a little bit about yourself as people might not know who you are.
Okay, I am a Zimbabwean and I am a travel journalist, marketing specialist. I'm a lot of things.
We'll come on to your work, actually. I just want to ask you the first question about how you actually fell in love with travel. So just explain your story.
Oh, that's such a difficult question. I think growing up with family and all that, we would, every school holiday, we would travel. And yeah, we would go like domestic travel. This is like going to Vic Falls, going to Zambia, checking out the little spots around the country in Zimbabwe. And yeah, just being out there, like in the middle of nowhere, discovering things, trying out new food, getting to meet new people, for me was like, wow, travel is awesome, and then life happened and there was a good spell of like zero travel at all. And I realized that travel made me happy. So I was like, I actually need to put more of an effort into this. So travel then became my escape. So every weekend when work was driving me crazy throughout the week, I would just take the weekend off, go fishing somewhere in some little town, or, I just go like, hey, let me try out this new cuisine from this local neighborhood I've never seen before. And yeah, it just grew from there.
You're from Zimbabwe, but you now live in Johannesburg, South Africa. So how did you first move across to Johannesburg? And not many people might be aware of this, but you're also a mother, aren't you, as well? So just explain that.
This is like my entire life story, literally. Yeah, my parents passed away when I was in high school, and my sister was living in South Africa already. So by the time I was done with my A levels, which is like final year of high school, for those who don't know A levels, I then came to join her here, and yeah, so she's living in South Africa, and I realized I'm still trying to figure out if I wanted to stay here. So, I would visit, other places to see, okay, do I really want to visit out, apply for jobs in certain countries? And yeah, and I realized actually I'm comfortable here. I understand this place. So I ended up just, settling here. But I would still use my little travels, holidays and all that to go see, what the world would really like. And yeah, got married, had a daughter, got divorced, and yeah, so it's just me and my 5-year-old. And through all of that, I realized that being a traveler, the world opens for you. Like you understand life differently. And I realized that I wanted to build something that she would actually enjoy. So I'm trying to get her into the love of travel. She loves the beach so far. So I think that's a winner for every family. But yeah, pretty much life story.
I'm sorry to hear that. You said your parents passed away early on, and I guess the challenges facing for anyone losing their parents and trying to make it in a foreign country away from your own country, which is actually a struggle. So not many people who haven't traveled across to a different country, they might not understand. So I guess a challenge for you to sort of, in your mindset, to succeed. And you said you got married, you've got a 5-year-old daughter. I guess I want to ask you the question about how you became a travel journalist and working in the media, because some of the work you've done over the years is very admirable and you've had so much success. So tell us how you got into travel journalism.
The saying, necessity is the mother of all invention. Literally, that is what it was. I was working in marketing for the longest time, and I was miserable, to say the least. But I realized that actually working full time for someone else wasn't for me. It wasn't conducive. And this is like 10, 15 years ago, where I just realized that I wasn't being fulfilled in where I was. And I was trying to find a way to be happy, like, where your soul is happy, everything about you is happy. So life went on, and I decided I brought in travel, to find that, sense of relief. And in that, I then started freelancing. So I quit my job and I was like, you know what, I'm doing this. I am going to freelance. I'm going to, control my finances and my time, because for me, time was so important. And yeah, after a couple of years of freelancing and then the marriage, the divorce, and I realized actually um, I needed time, so I went back to the travel. Traveling with a little person isn't exactly the easiest thing. So, but I knew I needed to prioritize it. In my little travels here and there, I started writing about my experiences, but less about, oh, I did this and I saw this, but more of, I experienced this hotel and this is what I've learned and this is what they could do better. I experienced this country and I see that, these are the challenges that they could face with international travelers. And in that process, a lot of brands started to notice what I was writing, and they said, hey, are you willing to come and, write about us? And then hotels would just invite me to stay for the weekend to write about the things that they were getting wrong and what they could do better. So it was more of a learning experience for them. And in that, got to travel to a number of countries, got to write about my experiences. And I realized that this is a niche. This is not something a lot of travel media or media in general are writing about. Travel is the world's largest industry. And I'm like, why aren't we talking about African travel? Like, why are we behind in attracting international travelers when we have so much to offer? Clearly we're not positioning ourselves well. And you see the marketing side of me start to come in there. And yeah, I got a website and just started writing about all the things I noticed. I started doing research on the industry, and eventually I was like, you know what, I can't do this for free, and I can't expect brands who are trying to develop themselves to cover my expenses to do this sort of thing. So I thought, you know what, let me actually produce something that can earn me income. So I started writing research reports, and it's really just my own insights on, this is the stats of what's going on in a certain industry. This is what Africa can do better to attract them. One of them is film tourism. Another one was a comparison between Amsterdam, where it's well renowned for its marijuana use, so your weed and all that. And meanwhile, Lesotho, tiny country in South Africa, landlocked around South Africa, and it is a huge producer of marijuana. And I was like, wait, how are they producing so much, but they're not raking it in financially, I was like, maybe this is a positioning issue. Maybe it's a policy thing. So I started digging into it. I wrote reports, and yeah, people started buying it from me. I was like, hey, this is actually an opportunity. And then I then began to see what I was doing as a full-on business, as opposed to just me having fun writing about my travel experiences. And that is what I now call Gallivant Africa.
It's an amazing journey. So you've come all the way through. And the thing is, you also mentioned that you quit your job and decided to go freelance. And it's a bold move to do that yeah, absolutely. Because when you have something quite secure, and making that first move is always difficult. And it's obviously paid off, because we'll come on to now Gallivant, and you just said there, Gallivant Africa. Now you've decided to take Gallivant Africa and expand it and evolve it even further. And this is where Gallivant Media, Gallivant Radio comes into the fold. So just explain your vision, your intention initially behind Gallivant Radio, and why it was so important for you. Why was it so important for the market in Africa, and I guess the travel industry, the travel media itself?
Yeah, that is.
It's a loaded question, I know.
It's so loaded. I'm trying to think back. Okay, so this couple of years ago, probably 2017, 2018. So this was early on to when I started Gallivant Africa, when I started taking it seriously and I started writing reports. And I was just looking at the industry itself, and I realized how expensive it was for small brands to get exposure. So the guys who were really punting themselves across media, TV, radio, print, it was the multinationals. So they come into Africa, they set themselves up really well, and they've got the huge budget. Now, for a small African travel business, it's a lot harder. They'd have to scrape around, probably get a business loan, whatever it was, just to promote themselves just as well. Or if anything, they'd have to rely on digital advertising. And that doesn't really give you the leverage, doesn't give you the millions that you need to see. And I was like, you know what? There has to be a better way of doing this, and just looking at the way, media happens in the country and just like in the region. I was like, you know what? People really listen to radio. Like everyone is on radio. And the radio DJs, radio hosts are rock stars, So if they said, hey, we are gonna go on a little road trip, people will follow that road trip, and they want to know more about where they're going, what they're doing. And I was like, you know what? What if there was a dedicated radio station that literally just talked about travel 24/7, talking about where to go, what to do, affordable places to go, your budget travel, your luxury travel, and also just talking about the business side of the travel industry, looking at aviation, hospitality, the new tech that's coming out for business. So in my mind, it was a platform that is tailored to anyone and everyone. So positioning the DJs, the hosts, as the rock stars who are literally just diving into travel. And as it went through in my mind, I was like, you know what? But I don't want it to be limited to South Africa, or to Southern Africa. I want it to be a Pan-African thing, so have people based in East Africa and West Africa, but then how, with time zones, how would that work? I was like, there must be a software out there that brands use or something that can allow for people in different places to all use the same platform. And in my mind, I just kept thinking, okay, Skype, you have a conversation with someone. Have you and I can have a conversation right now. Meanwhile, you are based, 10-hour flight away. And, I was mulling over it. I had chats with friends and they're like, that was so not work. Radio, like locally, you listen to radio in your car. And I was like, but there's a lot of smart cars that are out there right now that you can tune in to like an iTunes or some platform where you can listen to online radio. And they're like, yeah, but, there was always a but. And me, I was like, no, there is a solution to this. There is a way to figure this out.
Just going to interject. So did you try and go to other companies, other organizations and pitch the idea?
So I was like, backup plan. Let me go and pitch the concept. Let me try it as a sample, in an established radio station and just have a dedicated show to talk about travel. I did my samples and I went and I pitched to all these station managers. And yeah, the resounding answer was no. Like, who are you? And like, no, we already covered travel in some aspect, but it's like a 5-minute segment. It really does not cover anything whatsoever. So I had to find a solution to it. It was hard. I can tell you, it took months. I even pitched to TV stations as well. And I thought, hey, maybe TV as well. But no, my ideas fell flat.
When you look at the station now, I've got to be a bit biased because I actually work for Gallivant Radio as one of the hosts. So when you asked me to be part of it, and I thought to myself, how is this going to work? I'm based in the UK, the station's in Africa. Would I have to move to South Africa? You told me no, you can actually host from your home. And the plan is going forward for you to travel on the road, host the shows, And that's the modern way of doing it. And I was thinking, I don't know, really, is this really going to work? And then I noticed other radio stations actually doing the exact same thing as you had planned to do because of the pandemic. And I thought to myself, actually, it probably would work. And then when you told me the vision and what the aim and I guess the goal going forward, I was instantly hooked. So tell people how challenging it has been, because I know, but tell people how challenging it's been over the last couple of years to get to this position.
Oh my word. Do you have wine or something? That is like a conversation all on its own. Oh, it has been such a long journey. I think I got divorced 2018, right? 2019 was, a mess. 2020 pandemic came even worse. And I was freelancing. I mentioned I've been freelancing for a very long time. So that was my bread and butter. So you can imagine travel and marketing. Those are like the two industries where finances just went down completely. So now I was looking at minimal revenue and I was like, okay, I need to be more effective with my time and with my resources. And I still had this vision for Gallivant Radio. I'm like, no, you know what? I have to do this. I have to find a platform that works. I have to find team that can work with me just to understand the vision and that can carry it through. And I think there was a lot of stop start where, I'm expecting funds to like help keep us going. And then the funds just don't show up on time. And I'm just like, really? So it has been an uphill battle. And, my little person was such a toddler and she, when you have a little voice in your ear and you're just like, not now, I'm dealing with like huge problems. So there was a lot going on, a lot of stress, a lot. And that's like pandemic and making sure that your family's safe and making sure that, things continue after. I think it was just a lot of hard things. I think you and I had a lot of conversations about that, about everything that was going on. And to get to this place, I can tell you now, it took a lot. It really took a lot. But I think with every startup, every small business, you have a lot of ups and downs. But I'm glad that we've been stable for a couple of months now, and we're actually starting to grow, which is exciting. My heart is still like, oh, don't hold it, don't let anything happen. But
that's the thing.
Very exciting.
We are growing as a station. I saw the numbers the other day. I was thinking, oh my goodness, actually, we're getting a lot of numbers for the fact that we've not had the marketing budget. People might not know to promote ourselves, and this is where we will eventually. We will, and also for myself to see. I mean, if I went to, for example, a big station here in the UK and said, I would like a breakfast show, they'll just laugh me out the room. So for me to have my own breakfast show is just a dream come true. And
and you're doing so well.
Thank
I'm
you.
so proud of you.
Oh, thank you. But to grow a station, it needs momentum, and you just need to do the shows. I think that's what you said to me when you said to me, just do the shows, it will come in. The thing is, there isn't a dedicated travel radio station out there. When I'm hosting it, I'm always saying it's the only dedicated travel radio station in Africa. And that's the thing. Just explain to people, because when you went to an event the other day, people were coming to you thinking, oh my God, you're Miririo, aren't you? You're from Gallivant Radio. And you weren't expecting that, considering there were other broadcasters out there that were national. There were other influencers who had bigger numbers. But why do you think they were coming to you? Is it because we are traditional, we're a radio station, and the fact that we're dedicated to travel? Do you think that's the reason why they were coming up to you and saying, come with us, we're giving you the VIP treatment?
The power of word of mouth is incredible. I think I've made a point of making personal relationships with brands in the industry. So being invited to that event, I knew that there would be people in the industry, like everyone in the industry kind of knows each other. But I was like, no, you know what? At least I'll know someone when I get there. And being there, you're seeing all these national broadcasters, the big wigs who getting 1 million listeners is not a big deal. It's like small change to them. And getting there and seeing C-suite guys come to me and say, hey, is this you? And thankfully I had my mask, in fact, with my name on it. And they're like, wow, because they couldn't notice, when you're wearing a mask, you can't tell who people are. But they saw me and they knew me and they were so excited. They're like, Africa's only travel radio station? Like, it's a big deal, It's not every day that you meet someone who started something and that it's growing and it's being, even though our numbers don't match theirs in any way or form, but the fact that they could have a one-on-one conversation with me was huge. Being invited to other trips, where brands were like, no, come join us on this trip. And you're like, really? Like me? Like, you're not talking to those other guys with the millions of followers? But they're like, no, what you have is special. What you have is valuable and you need to keep doing it. And for me, that was like the stamp of approval that I needed, to keep going and to not give up, because it's exciting. It's really exciting what Gallivant Radio can do. Once we get those numbers, it's going to be insane. Our travel on the continent is going to grow.
We know, because we researched into it, there's only one other travel radio station that we found anyway. We couldn't find a dedicated one anyway, but not find anything else. But you do have television platforms that do have shows that are dedicated, but not necessarily talking, though. No one's talking for hours and hours, so that's what makes it exciting. And to hear that people are excited, and that's the thing, the opportunities now is endless. And you do also have you've had other opportunities. Actually, you've actually gone and taken Gallivant Africa to television. In fact, you filmed a pilot, is that right?
Yes, we filmed our pilot last year. I think the interest was there like way before, and even that is like an incredible story, a Pan-African, actually international. They linked to an American broadcaster, and their African broadcaster, their MD, came to me and said, "Hey, we see what you're doing. Would you be keen to have your own show?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" And this is me. Can you imagine coming from pitching and pitching and pitching and just being turned down flat? For the MD, not just like the content manager or something. No, the managing director set up a meeting with me and said, "Hey, we like what you're doing. We like the content you're reading. Do you want to do this with us? You have your own show, prime time. Nobody gets prime time, And so this year we're going to be filming. We're just finalizing contracts and all that. But we're going to start filming the full-on episodes. It's going to be an annual thing, so 50 episodes a year. 50!
Because that's a lot of shows to get through in a year. So you're going to be super busy. In fact, I'm not even sure if I'm going to get time to see you, maybe. With all the film, you're going to be a superstar on TV.
You're literally going to have to grab me on the road, like, okay, let's do this.
Vision is still Gallivant Radio as well. So you want the radio, you want the TV, you want everything all interlinked, don't you? I guess almost sort of say that like all the other big corporations, they have one thing, but they grow. It's like you've got the big tree. It's the branches then, don't you? I'm assuming that is what you want. You want different branches within Gallivant Africa. Since I became a broadcaster, and I think we've spoken about this off air, of course, but just the recognition I've received. Thing is, when you tell people you're a broadcaster for a dedicated travel radio station, and they look you up, for some bizarre, and it's weird because I've not changed as a person, but they all automatically give you the respect. And I've had, this is, I guess, one of the perks, free meals. They've taken me to this, free this. I'm like, what's going on?
Like your New York thing was incredible.
Yeah, New York thing as well. So I go to New York, and then people are saying, come here. And it's like, not just that, by the way. I've had opportunities just outside of that as well. So writing, and we've still got lots of things to do in terms of where we want to be, but we will get there. So I would say to people, stay with us, tune in because it's the only that as we're growing, with our audience will grow with us. What challenges would you face then? I guess competition might be the one thing. I guess regulations. What is the biggest challenge do you think that Gallivant Radio faces?
Always capital. I think everything else would kind of fall into place. I think the legislation around internet radio, online radio, I think is getting better, more in our favor. I think getting the finance to be able to do that. I think in a way it's still a challenge because we don't have a marketing budget. I think you and I and the rest of the team we are the marketers, being able to talk about what we're doing and places we're going. And yeah, I think that for me, just having not that there wasn't any capital, but it was consistent capital, and that it could carry us all as we're trying to grow. And yeah, but for me, I'm just thankful for our audiences just to keep going, and that people can actually, give me a heads up, or I'm sure they do to you too, with like, oh, are you going to be talking about this topic anytime soon, or just people who are really keen to be a guest on the show, and they are talking about it. So having really high profile guests, like ministers of tourism who said they're really keen to be a guest on the show, talk about what they're doing in their countries. It's exciting. And I think that for me is way more important than any of the other challenges that we could face. It's like, let's just be consistent. Because if we're consistent, then our audiences are consistent, our guests are consistent, and then things will just grow, things will just fall into place. And now it being our first official year of being consistent, for me, it's like most important thing. That foundation, having that foundation for me is priceless.
Being a podcaster and being a broadcaster is completely different. So people don't realize, it's just on another level in terms of how you have to broadcast a show. So you have to follow certain rules and etc. Yeah. And I had an interview the other day. Someone asked me, what is the difference? And I said, how long do you have? Because I could be here all night talking about it. So I guess for you as well, did you have I guess you didn't have any broadcasting experience beforehand, did you?
No, other than normal audio podcasting and, doing Instagram lives, Instagram. You and I have a history with Instagram as well. But I think for me, that was my only main sort of, like being a guest on a TV show is very different from you being the interviewer, and I've done TV interviews as a guest. I've done radio interviews as a guest. I've done productions, behind the scenes, filming TV shows and all that. But it's very super different from when you're the one who's now trying to produce this episode, this show, whatever it was. So yeah, it was hectic. But I was, I think, same for you, being very willing to learn and being willing to have big ideas to see how can we do this better? How can we be more creative about what we're doing so that we are different, because our unique selling point is at the end of the day all we have.
Well, for me, I'm going to be biased. I hope the success continues and Gallivant Radio grows, Gallivant Africa, Gallivant Media grows, because it's going to be, as I said to you, it's making waves now, and just imagine what we'll be like in a year's time. So here's to the success for Gallivant Media, Gallivant Africa. Just want to quickly move it away from that. I just want to ask you quickly a little bit about your personal experiences of travel itself. So whilst you've been traveling, what have you gained from it? What would you say has been your most transformative travel experience?
Oh man, like where do you get these loaded questions? I think a lot of my travel has been, especially in recent years, a lot of my travel has been focused on the business side of Africa's travel industry. And I think that's where like our tagline even comes from, discover Africa's vibrant travel industry. And for me, that vibrancy was so important because it broke my heart that people didn't see Africa. When I would have conversations with international people, Western people, they look at us and look at Africans, they're like, the dark continent, it's filled with war, filled with poverty. And I'm just like, that's like a small percentage of the continent as a whole, There's actually a lot of beautiful things that you can see, that you can do, a lot of amazing once-in-a-lifetime experiences, and people are missing it. So every journey I've been on, I've been in that mindset, like, how do we do this? How do we do this better? And for me, dealing with personal challenges, I was like, you know what? How do I find, just peace of mind, and just being mentally and emotionally well again? And yeah, I actually found this on a trip to Seychelles. I spent 8 days there. And that was like one of my dream destinations. Just looking at the pictures, I was like, this place is incredible. But being there, I was like, no, you know what? This actually really is an incredible country. And people are sleeping on it, People are not actually seeing what's out there, taking the experiences. So for me, I was like, you know what? If I had any purpose in life, it is for people to see how amazing Africa is, and also to equip other Africans to position themselves better so that they can attract international travel. And actually, you can make a lot of money from the travel industry if you do it right, So, yeah.
What would you say then travel means to you then?
Travel to me means well-being. It means, that kind of escape that, fulfills you, like if you are sailing on a boat or if you are skydiving, that adrenaline rush is so exciting. For me, that is travel, whether it is a local trip an hour away out of town or whether it's like a whole 10-hour flight, just being able to be in a different place, be in a different experience, in a different world, for me is like, yeah, that is well-being for me.
I know you said you got your daughter. Is it challenging, I guess, to travel with having a daughter and just with work? Or have you managed to find a balance between home life and work life?
I am really thankful for my family because they know how important travel is to me and how important this business is to me as well. So every time I've had to travel, especially for work purposes, for Gallivant Africa purposes, my family have, taken care of her. But now, that she's older and, I don't have to watch her like a hawk. Now bringing her along on my trips and just seeing like how she responds to it. It has been hard. And, you can't do it on your own. It's insane. It's a nightmare, especially at this age where they want to touch everything, eat everything. Just, yeah, hands are everywhere. But no, for me, it's also very fulfilling, knowing that there's someone who's a carbon copy of you and loves what you love. So I get to share this with her and get to show her so many incredible things. And I'm like, actually, this is why I'm doing it, for her generation to be able to experience Africa the real way,
And
so yeah.
she could be my boss in the future as well.
Hopefully not. Hopefully she'll start her own business.
Yes.
But yeah.
if she ever wanted to come into the media, hey, she's got Gallivant Africa there to sort of...
Literally.
Absolutely. For the audience to know you a little bit better, I would say. So what's your guilty pleasure?
Oh, you can ask anyone in my family. It is ice cream. I absolutely love ice cream.
Good choice.
Little fun fact, there was a time many years ago, when I was still working in corporate world, I got retrenched. My heart was broken. And all I had in my fridge, because I hadn't done groceries in a while, was like a 5-liter tub of ice cream. I plowed through that thing, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for days. And I was like, actually, I'm not sick of ice cream. That's how much I love it. So, yeah.
What would you say as well, if you were to choose between, would it be going out on a night out, or would you say staying in and watching a movie?
Stay at home, watch a movie.
Oh, okay. So you're not, I guess, I would have thought you would have been, let's go out, party, but I guess...
no.
No?
Yeah, do not be fooled. I am such an introvert. I would choose home with a book, fireplace, all that over, social groups and all that. It's strange.
I'm quite extroverted person now. However, I grew up quite an introvert, and I would still actually choose. Yes, I would still choose staying home. Staying home, watching television, and just enjoying, enjoying a meal at home than actually going out and partying and stuff. And I could almost say I get my fix when I go traveling to an extent, because I'm out, I guess, when you're out there, but when I'm home, and because it's all go all the time, I'd rather not, Dan. It's just so tiring. You know what I mean. You know what I mean by that, in terms of it's just, you just want to just relax, stay at home, just watch TV and stuff. I guess you can't really look to the future, but in the next 5 years, when Gallivant Radio gets to the position where you want it to be, do you see yourself living outside of Africa, or is Africa always going to be the place for you to live?
For me, Africa will definitely still be home. Likely South Africa. I think I'd probably move to Cape Town because looking at the continent, Cape Town is actually a hub for the travel industry. They've won so many awards for the destination, and for me, having a travel media business just sounds right to have it in Cape Town. I would love to just spend a lot more time outside of the continent so that I can learn and bring those learnings back home. But yeah, if I could, I have a house in Cape Town, in the Seychelles. Definitely have to have a place in Seychelles and Rwanda. I think those are like my two extra places that I'd love to just spend a lot more time in. Going hiking in the mountain tops, yeah, that for me does it.
An amazing journey so far you've had. Let's hope it continues. And for people listening in, of course, you can tune into Gallivant Radio via our website, which is www.gallivant.africa, and you can listen to us on your phone, computer, on the road, anywhere in the world. But also, Miri, where else can people find you personally?
Oh, everywhere. All social media except for TikTok, surprisingly enough. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Skype if you really want to have a conversation. But yeah, I'm everywhere.
And what's your handle? Is it at Miriro Matema?
Miriro Matema. At MIRIRO MATEMA.
Miri, as I like to call you, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. Congratulations again. No, congratulations again for all your success, and I'll speak to you very soon.
Thank you. Bye.
A great insight into Miri's career, and if you'd like to stay in touch with her, all the important details are on your screen now. That's it for Take a Wonder with Shebs. Hope to see you all very soon. Until next time, bye for now.